Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And it seems like 11.0.5 is getting even more lit for some classes and possibly devastating for others, as the only real information that I've seen so far from these changes has been receptions from players like Peekaboo and not really liking what's going on with Rogue, whereas other classes like Paladin seem to be super excited and poggers over their changes. These changes are literally game breaking and no clickbait intended. It's almost like basically complete class reworks on a mid patch with 11.0.5, but there's a lot to talk about, so let's just dive into it right away. For Death Knights, you're gonna need a new talent, Reaper's Onslaught, which is going to reduce the cooldown of Reaper's Mark by 15 seconds, but the number of Marrow Rends and Obliterates empowered by Exterminate is reduced by 1. Choice node with Dark Talons. I don't know how much impact that has with Reaper's cooldown being reduced like this. It helps you like go pull to pull in dungeons with it being a shorter CD and less overall burst potentially, and then in PvP as well, having it in more engagements potentially like a battleground situation. New talent, Swift and Painful. If no enemies are struck by Soul Rupture, you gain 10% strength for 8 seconds. Wave of Souls is 100% more effective on the main target of your Reaper's Mark. Replaces Swift End and Painful Death choice node. Now, I don't remember what this is replacing. It sounds like a really strong effect, but I don't know if you've lost something that was even more powerful. So Death Knights, let us know in the comments down below. New talent, Reaper of Souls. When you apply Reaper's Mark, the cooldown of your Soul Reaper is reset. Your next Soul Reaper costs no runes, and it explodes regardless of the target's remaining health. Soul Reaper damage increased by 20%. They really want to make Soul Reaper a more viable option. There's a Reaper's Mark, Soul Reaper, they both have Reaper in the name, and it's all about like executing big bursts. So I think this is a really cool synergy to add to this. I like that. Hopefully it's obviously got enough power behind it. Painful Death's effects are now baseline to Exterminate. Exterminate empowers 2 Obliterate Marrow Ends to summon the Sice baseline. So rather than having to take a talent for that. Grim Reaper has been updated. Reaper's Mark Initial Strike grants Killing Machine 3 charges of Bone Shield. Reaper's Mark Explosion deals up to 30% increased damage based on your target's missing health, so even more damage. Wither Away has been updated. Blood Plague Frost Fever deals its damage 100% faster, and the second scythe of Exterminate applies Blood Plague and Frost Fever. Dark Talons has been updated. Marrow Rend, Heart Strike, and Consuming Killing Machine or Rhyme has a 25% chance to grant 3 stacks of Icy Talons. That's a nice instant ramp. And increase its maximum stacks by the same amount for 6 seconds. Runic power spending abilities count as Shadow Frost while Icy Talons is active. Bind and Darkness has been updated. Rhyme empowered Howling Blast deals 30% increased damage to its main target. Blood Bowl deals 10% increased damage and is now Shadow Frost. Shadow Frost damage applies 2 stacks of Reaper's Mark and 4 stacks when it's critical strike. It sounds really cool for DK. I'm not gonna lie, these sound like really awesome. Rune Carved Plates now reduces the magic and physical damage you take by 1.5% down from 2. Do remember that they are looking at doing still working on the overhaul in terms of bringing down self-sustain of DPS, so this is kind of in line with that goal, and it's good to see that it's still kind of like an ongoing thing to try and bring down personal self-reliance. I think Death Knight's definitely still got the most of all of that. They are removing Swift and Painful Death and Blood Fever though, and I have not played Death Knight enough to tell you if that's a huge deal, so please let us know in the comments down below if that sounds like totally cataclysmic if you're a Death Knight player. For Frost specifically, Arctic Assault now fires a Glacial Advance at 80% down from 100, so not all just cool stuff, and some nerfs as well. Demon Hunter, Sigil of Sights, just new icons for the hunt and stuff like that. Felscarred Focused Hatred now provides damage bonus beyond 1 target only, while the bonus reducing by 10% for each target beyond 1. I don't know if this was just really OP and big AoE or not, but a little bit of a change for Felscarred. For Vengeance, Metamorphosis now heals you for 40% of your maximum health instead of modifying your health directly. Casting Metamorphosis while in demon form no longer heals you. Triggering Last Resort always heals you for 40% of the maximum health. This cleans up some edge cases in Metamorphosis where activating while demon form is active would sometimes not heal you, and sometimes heals you a reduced amount. This is an increase to the healing received when triggering Last Resort while in demon form. Metamorphosis health restoration will now also appear as healing in combat logs, so just quality of life improvements for Vengeance. For Druid, big updates for Druid, especially Boomkin. I love that the buffs are getting reduced in mana cost, because I think rewarding players who remember to rebuff, especially in Battlegrounds because you're dying all the time, I think is a really good thing. As opposed to like, oh, I'm rebuffing more than the enemy team is, but now I'm and now I can't do anything. So I actually think this is good. Adaptive Swarm, new icons as well for Convoke and Adaptive Swarm. Ravage can now be used within 20 seconds up from 15. This is one of my favorite abilities in the game. Honestly, I've been playing Guardian Druid a bit in dungeons dungeons. I really like when Maul turns into Ravage. For Boomkin, though, new talent is Sunseeker Mushrooms, which is basically Sunfire is going to have a chance to grow the old mushroom on a target, and after a second, it's going to explode, and it's going to snare the target by 50% and do all the other things that Wild Mushroom previously did. So this is cutting down a keybind for Wild Mushroom. It's going to make Sunfire much more desirable to actually use and press, and I think that people were just never playing the Mushroom talent in PvE. So this is likely going to make them play that, because now you don't have to waste a global. Activating it doesn't really impede on your rotation. It's just amplifying your baseline rotation. It's a really good talent now with it as it is like this. New talent, Whirling Stars, which is probably the biggest thing they're doing for Boomkin, which is Celestial Alignment's cooldown is reduced by 75 seconds, which I think makes it about 1 minute and 45. And it has 2 charges, but it lasts 40% less. So in BGs and even dungeons, being able to go pull to pull to pull and have a cooldown up for each of them, I think is their main goal with improving this cooldown, is just giving you more frequency. I think it's going to likely be really good. It's going to be really good. New talent, Astronomical Impact. Critical strike damage of your astral spells is increased by 20%, so giving us more crit damage modifiers. Now, crit damage is nerfed in PvP, so I don't know how much of a big deal it's going to be. And obviously there's some bugs with this. This stuff is really early considering how much in the future this patch is. So I don't know if all of this stuff really works or not. Crashing Star. Shooting Stars, a 15% chance to call down a Crashing Star, dealing astral damage and generating 4 astral power. I think this was a set bonus in Dragonflight, so now it's a talent. New talent, Hill of Stars. Casting a free Star Surge or Starfall grants Solstice for 3 seconds, and free spells cast by Convoke the Spirits grant 1 second of this version. So trying to get the free proccing talent more play, as opposed to the I don't know, I'm forgetting the talent of it. It's when you Star Surge, your Star Surge damage is like increased baseline, and there's a proccing one that gives you free effects. This is trying to give you like a little bit more AoE on the procs, which could make it feel cooler for like a Starfall type of build. Circle of Life and Death, Moonfire, Sunfire, Stellar Flare, and Starfall will now deal damage in 20% less time, and heal over time effects in 15% less. So Starfall builds can be crazy with this. And Starfall is also just baseline, so you no longer need to lose any sort of single target capabilities in order to get it. It's also getting a 10% damage buff. And Wild Mushrooms now generate 10 astral power up from hitting an enemy, up from 5. Warrior of Elune increases astral power generation of Starfire down to 30 from 40, so nerfs to Starfire. Nature's Grace no longer increases the damage of Wrath than Starfire. They're really nerfing the builders a lot. I saw PvEers complaining that builders are doing more damage than spenders. So even though I was kind of having fun, Starfire doing more damage in PvP, I can see logically why they want to do that. Umbral Intensity is now a 1-point talent that increases the damage of Solar Eclipse Wrath by 20 up from 15, and Lunar Eclipse Starfire by 15, and the damage Starfire does to nearby enemies by 30. So I think this is like I don't know if it's a nerf or not, but bringing 2-point talents down to 1-point talents is always felt good on every class, so I think that's good. Astral Smolder's chance to trigger is reduced to 35 down from 40, but it's going to do more damage from 50 to 60. Touch of Cosmos is being updated. Casting Wrath in an Eclipse has a 12% chance to make your next Star Surge or Starfall free. I was really hoping they just changed the mechanic entirely. I would love if they bring back the old Shooting Stars where you dot, either it's ticks or crits, has a chance to make your next Star Surge free. I really like that. This like casted spell makes it free. The chances are still just so low that I doubt that this is really going to be played. Maybe if it was like targets hit on Starfire, so if you have AoE bunch of targets, is like a higher chance of proccing or something. Just feels like it never procs, so I don't really like this one that much. Balance of All Things now grants 8 to 16% crit chance, down from 10 to 20, so nerf to Balance of All Things again. Orbit Breaker also getting nerfed. Full Moon every 30 is Shooting Star from 25, but maybe that's because of the changes to that Solstice talent above. If we're going to be triggering Solstice more, then obviously Shooting Star is going to be proccing more. Power of Goldrun is now a 1-point talent, so this is nice, just talent reductions. Astral Communion no longer grants astral power on entering Eclipse. Instead, entering in an Eclipse causes your next Star Surge or Starfall to cost 15% less astral power. Now, as a Keeper of Grove build, you're probably going to be capped on astral power a lot anyway, so the other version, I think, was potentially... Maybe that's the point of this, is if you're overcapped, you get into Eclipse, so you still get a little bit of benefit. I think Astral Communion is another one that just never gets taken in PvE. Seems like a lot of those are getting attention because of that. Twin Moves is going to where Starfall used to be. Nature's Grace is moved to where Twin Moons used to be. So just a bunch of talent repositions. Really gonna have to look at it specifically to see like the biggest deal with it being looped around like that. Overall just seems like we're getting a lot stronger and they're buffing underperforming talents. For Keeper of the Grove, they also removed Lunar Shrapnel, so no little extra AoE on the Starfalls, and no extra longer Incarn. Potent enchantments causing Whirling Stars to reduce the cooldown of Celestial Alignment by an additional 10%. Control the Dream now reads are available to be used at maximum charge as the player has Whirling Stars reduce the cooldown of Celestial Alignment based on time spent at maximum charges. Interesting. So Whirling Stars. I don't remember seeing what that was, but definitely going to keep an eye on that. Reactive Resin for Resto Druids is a new talent on the baseline tree, which I don't really understand because it used to be a PvP talent. It used to protect you from Purge. Now it's a baseline talent that protects you from Purge, but no enemies in PvE purge to my knowledge. So when your hots purge, they get replaced with Reactive Resin, healing an ally over 6 seconds, and it can stack. So rather than silencing the enemy, you're just going to stack an extra heal over time effect on the target when you purge. I don't know if there's a buff or nerf, honestly, to the ability itself. They're going to have to figure out a way to get it to work in PvE, though, so my guess is that that's probably going to change. Flourish now also affects Symbiotic Blooms, so the Wildstalker build is a little more viable with that talent. For Evoker, they're reducing your buff down to 1% from 4%. I think it's really good doing that across the board. We talked about the Tail Swipe and Wing buff. It changes in my previous video, but this is just... it's going to be the same for you at the end of this. Permeating Chill's baseline, and it no longer spams immune messages when attacking enemies who are immune to slow. Okay. Renewing Blaze is no longer affected by healing received modifiers, but positive and negative. Dampening in Arena is a special case and will continue to decrease the healing of Renewing Blaze. Heavy wing beats and clobbering sweep are no longer a choice node. Swap positions. Bombardments now summon a variety of Drakthir models. So not a lot going on for Evoker. Some classes didn't get much. Maybe they will in the future. Again, this is 11.0.5 class changes. New talent, Death Blow. Kill command and aim shot have a 10% chance to grant Death Blow. Death Blow, the cooldown of kill shot is reset. Your next kill shot can be used on any target regardless of their health. Each hunter specialization has a way to generate Death Blow, but only marksmanship referred to it as Death Blow. These changes are meant to unify the Death Blow design while still allowing each spec to interface with it in a unique way. Steady Shot now generates 10 focus baseline for all specs. Updated animation for volley and rapid fire, and improved kill shot has been removed. Now Dark Ranger received a lot of criticism early on, so let's see what they've done for this. Black Arrow is redesigned. Kill shot is now replaced with Black Arrow. Black Arrow, you attempt to finish off a wounded target, dealing high shadow damage and low shadow damage over time for 10 seconds. Only usable on enemies with less than 20% health. So reducing the keybind blow for Hunter a bit. And then what are they going to do with it if it's now an execute? Withering Fire has been redesigned. Every 4 casts of Bestial Wrath while True Shot is active. You surrender to the darkness for 12 seconds. You gain Death Blow. Black Arrow automatically fires at your target, and 2 additional Black Arrows at 50% effectiveness. Holy crap. Bro, are we going to go with like Sylvanas mode and look all Shadow Voidy also when this happens? I really hope that they put that animation in because that would be sick. Shadow Surge has been redesigned. Periodic damage from Black Arrow has a small chance to erupt in a burst of darkness, dealing moderate shadow damage to all enemies near your target. I think it's just the same as it was before. Shadow Hands have also been updated for Beast Mastery only. When summoning a Dire Beast, you have a 20% chance to summon a Shadow Hound. New talent, Bleak Arrows. Your auto shot now deals shadow damage, and your auto shot has 15 to 8% chance to grant Death Blow. New talent, Phantom Pain. When kill command and aim shot damage the target affected by Black Arrow, 5% of the damage dealt is replicated each of the unit affected by Black Arrow. What do you mean affected by Black Arrow? Oh, because it puts a dot on the target. Okay. New talent, Banshee's Mark. Murder of Crows now deals shadow damage, and casting Black Arrows 25% chance to summon a Murder of Crows on your target. Murder of Crows is pretty lackluster, so this is them trying to make it more viable, and giving you more shadow damage makes you crazy in PvP. New talent, The Bell Tolls. Black Arrow is now usable on enemies with greater than 80% or less than... So you can use it at... Oh my god, use it at the start of an engagement and the end. That's so good. New talent, Shadow Dagger. While in combat, casting Disengage releases a fan of daggers at nearby enemies, dealing very low shadow damage and slowing them by 30%. So as opposed to the chains. And you get a little damage on the Disengage as well. New talent, Bleak Powder. Casting Black Arrow while Beast Cleave and Trick Shots is active cause Black Arrow to explode upon hitting a target, dealing moderate damage to nearby enemies. So you can also get it to AoE. New talent, Soul Drinker. When an enemy affected by Black Arrow dies, you have a 10% chance to gain Death Blow, so you can just reset it and pump it out again. As a choice node with Shadow Hound. So making Shadow Hounds more focused for BM, and then this big like killing blow Black Arrow build for MM, I think is more or less where they're going with this. Visual effect updated for Shadow Surge, Black Power, Withering Arrow, and Black Arrow. I really hope we turn into like mini Shadow Sylvanas from the BFA cinematic. That would be sick. Dark Chain updated to only function while in combat, can no longer affect critters. Withering Fire now warns you when you're not talented in True Shot or Bestial Wrath. The following talents have been removed. Overshadow, Death Shade, Dark Empowerment. I think it doesn't even matter. Everything else they've added makes this thing so much sicker than it was before. Sentinel, Lunar Storm's visuals updated, so another visual change for Beast Mastery. Bunch of talents. New talent, Snake Skin Quiver. Your auto shot has a 15% chance to also fire Cobra Shot. More automatic, easy mode damage for BM. Exactly what they need. Serpent Shrine Rhythm. Casting Cobra Shot increases its damage by 15%, stacking up to 6 times. It's also going to proc a stack. Upon reaching 6 stacks, the bonus is removed, and you gain 8% increased pet damage. Barbed Scales. Casting Cobra Shot reduces the cooldown of Barbed Shot by 2 seconds. And Cobra Shot Senses has been redesigned. Now reduces the focus cost of Cobra Shot by 5 and increases its damage by 35%. Big Cobra Shot changes. Hunter's Prey has been redesigned. Kill Shot will strike 1 additional target and deal 10% increased damage for each of your active pets. Stacks up to 5 times. Now, does that also mean Black Arrow? So you're going to get Cleave Black Arrows? Barbed Shot damage increased by 100%. BM might be back in this patch. It ain't looking too good right now in the current patch, but oh my god. Barbed Shot cooldown increased to 18 from 12, and duration increased to 12 from 8, so a little bit less kind of spammy. It's going to make it a bit easier to play, I think. Barbed Shot Frenzied duration increased to 12 from 8 as well. Throw the Hunt duration increased to 12 up from 8. Pack Tactics Energy Regeneration increased to 125 up from 100. Pack Tactics now replaces Steady Shot. Interesting. Animal Companion no longer reduces the damage of all your pets by 35, and the following pet ability damage has been reduced. Stomp, Kill Command. Oh my god, they nerfed all your pet abilities though. Following abilities removed: Kindred Spirits and improved Kill Command. For Marksmanship Hunter, new talent, Pin Cushion. Casting Steady Shot reduces the cooldown of Aim Shot by 2 seconds. Choice Note with improved Steady Shot. Improved Death Blow. Aim Shot has a 15% chance, and Rapid Fire has a 25% chance to grant Death Blow for that Black Arrow build. Kill Shot's critical strike to end. It's also going to do 20% more damage. Improved Steady Shot has been updated. Now makes Steady Shot grant an additional 10 focus. Precise Shots has been updated, renamed to Precise Shot. Now empowers your next cast of Arcane Shot, Chimera Shot, or Multi Shot to deal 100% increased damage. Was 2 casts at 70%. So rather than 2, you only get 1. Steady Focus has been updated. Casting Steady Shot increases your haste by 8% for 15 seconds. Was casting Steady Shot twice in a row, so you just get the bonus without having to do it twice. Steady Focus no longer plays its Vigil effect when it's refreshed. True Shot now reduces the focus cost of Aim Shot baseline. Rapid Fire Barrage and Rapid Fire Effectiveness increased by 40 up from 30. Position of Unerring Vision and calling the shots is swapped. Eagle Talent's True Focus has been removed. For survival, Ruthless Marauder has been redesigned. Damage from Fury of the Eagle has a 20% chance to regenerate a stack of the tip of the spear. When Fury of the Eagle ends, your haste is increased by 8%, is now 1 point talent. We like the 1 point talent changes. Merciless Blow has been redesigned. Butchery causes affected targets to bleed for heavy damage over 12 seconds. Sikkim has been updated. Kill Command's chance to grant Death Blow is increased by 15%, and Death Blow now makes Kill Shot strike up to 2 additional targets. Your chance to gain Death Blow is doubled during Coordinated Assault. Now, you can't get Dark Ranger, though, as survival, so I don't know how cool that's going to be, but give you some AoE on your Cleave. Exposed Flank has been updated. Now empowers your next Kill Command to deal 50% increased damage, strike 3 targets, and generate a tip of the spear stack for each target hit. Really trying to make Kill Command more appealing. Fear of the Eagle got a 25% damage buff and a shorter channel amount. So does it do the full damage in a shorter time? Because that would be a lot. That would be a pretty big change. Kill Command resets no longer reduce the cooldown of Fury of the Eagle, though. Butchery damage increased by 50%. Butchery no longer has charges, and its cooldown has been increased to 15 seconds. So a little bit less spammy of a rotation. Tip of the Spear's consumption grace period has been reduced to 0.3 down from 0.7, and Relentless Primal Ferocity now grants 2 additional stacks to Tip of the Spear, up from 1. Position of Ranger in terms of engagement has been swapped. Pack Leader, Howl of the Pack now increases Wildfire Bomb damage by 20%, and Wild Attacks now increases the damage of Rapid Strike and Mongoose Bite by 20%. So seemingly good changes for Hunter, making them a little less spammy. A lot of cool, I think, could be really cool visual changes, and just like power increases. For Mage, Arcane Intellect, 1% change. Shifting Power icon update, doesn't really matter. New talent signature spell for the Spell Slingers. Choice Note with Shifting Shards. Arcane, when Magi Spark explodes, you conjure 6 Arcane Splinters, and for Frost, consuming Winter's Chill with Glacial Spike conjures 2 additional Frost Splinters. Arcane Splinter Storm now has a 5% chance to generate clear casting. And for Frost, Splinter Storm no longer applies Winter's Chill. Splinter Storm now has a 5% chance to grant Brain Freeze. New talent for Arcane Aether Vision. Consuming Nether Precision with Arcane Blast increases the damage next Arcane Barrage by 10%. Causes it to generate 2 Arcane Charges. I don't know if they're ever going to make Arcane Blast feel good to press in PvP. Time Loop has been updated. Now increases the duration of Arcane Debilitation by 2 seconds, and its chance to trigger increased to 25 up from 15. Lay Drinker has been updated. No longer affects Arcane Barrage, and casting Touch of the Magi now grants Lay Drinker. Lay Drinker's chance to trigger increased to 25 from 20. Charged Orb has been updated. Now also increases the damage of Arcane Orb by 15%. Consortium's Bauble has been updated. Now increases Arcane Blast damage by 8%, reduces mana cost by 5. Consortium's Bauble position into the tree has changed. Fixed an issue with Arcane Debilitation to contribute twice its damage increase. So bug fixes for Arcane, bringing its power down quite a bit. Fixed an issue that allowed players to double dip in the last stack another precision with a spell queued Arcane Barrage. Again, these are like little changes that are probably big nerfs. Talents in the Gate 2 have swapped position. Resonance Orbs has just been completely removed. I don't know how much of an impact that has. It seems like they're... I don't know. I don't know what to make of this for Arcane. So if you play Arcane, let me know, but it doesn't seem good. I don't think it seems too good. You're gonna get a bit more barrage damage, I suppose, but a lot of like bug fixes or little tweak things that you were doing to get some power out have been removed. For fire, Majesty of the Phoenix has been updated. Casting Phoenix Flames causes your next flame strike to have its critical strike chance increased by 20 and its critical strike damage by 20, stacks 3 times. They just gutted the flame strike build out of the game in PvP, and now it's the talent maybe gonna bring it back. I don't know if it's enough. Heat Shimmer can once again trigger while casting Scorch. Heat Shimmer is no longer consumed when it triggers during Scorch cast. Field of Fire is now shown in the spellbook. Fix an issue that prevented Pyromaniac from being able to trigger Hyperthermia. An issue causing controlled destruction to increase ignite damage by an additional 0.5% has been resolved. So a little bit of a damage reduction there, but flame strike trade-off. For Monk, just some icon updates. For Mistweaver, I've seen a lot of Mistweavers talking about this. So it seems like a pretty big update for them, at least on Twitter. Dome of Mist. Enveloping Mist transforms 80% of its remaining periodic healing into a Dome of Mist when dispelled, absorbing damage and increasing healing received by the monk by 30%. Again, it seems like putting these purged hots on the baseline tree, because targets don't, unless they're going to start making monsters purge you, which honestly could be cool, you're just never going to take that in PvE, so it's a bit weird to see that at baseline. Ancient Teachings is now a baseline effect and transfers damage from Crackling Jade Lightning, but now transfers 30% of the damage into healing. So you can crackle while being Fistweaver. New talent, Jadefire Teaching. After casting Jadefire Stomp or Thunder Focus T, Ancient Teachings transfers an additional 140% damage to healing for 15 seconds, while Jadefire Teachings is active. Your stamina is increased by 5%. So you can do Fist Weaving without the normal Fist Weaving build. Bit confused by this. So this is like you can mix it both at the same time, pick a moment and go in with Jadefire. New talent, Refreshment. Life Cocoon now grants 5 stacks of Mana Tea and applies 2 stacks of healing elixirs to its target. That's a lot of healing elixirs on the target. And giving you 5 stacks of Mana Tea, your mana regeneration is just going to be crazy. New talent, Rushing Wind Kick. Kick up a powerful gust of wind, dealing nature damage in a 25-year cone and targets in front of you, split evenly among them. Damage is increased by 5% per target hit, up to 30. Grants Rushing Winds for 4 seconds, increasing the Renewing Mist healing by 50%. Replaces Rising Sun Kick. Choice node with Jadefire Teachings. Going to make you kind of like counter pet class, big, mob pulls on dungeons. Probably going to feel really good compared to Rising Sun Kick. New talent, Jadefire Empowerment. Casting Thunder Focus T increases your next Crackling Jade Lightning damage by 1,000% and causes to chain to 4 additional enemies. So trying to give you some power in terms of offense, which you really were lacking. That could be really good with the percent modifier on that. Calming Coal, also this thing that makes it heal, no? All the damage you deal heals allies. Like you just crackle, it heals the whole team to full. Calming Coalescence has been redesigned, increasing the absorb amount of Life Cocoon by 80%. Crackling Jade Lightning damage is also getting a 1,000 damage buff, and it channels 25% faster. Blackout Kick gets a 25% damage increase. Awakened Jadefire now additionally causes Blackout Kick to strike 2 additional targets, trying to give you more AoE. Dance of Chi-Chi's chance of trigger has been increased by 100%, has moved talent locations. Enveloping Mist can now be dispelled, and the following talents have been removed: Nourishing Chi and Ancient Concordance. So trying to give you some power and damage. I think in dungeons with how big the pulls are, like they needed AoE damage. I don't know how that damage will turn out in PvP though, if it'll really actually help you. For Paladin, so much has changed that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to catch it all for you here. So tons of talents are in different locations. You're just complete rework, basically. New talent, Holy Ritual. Allies are healed when you cast a blessing spell on them and healed again when it ends. A little bit of extra passive healing. We freed them or bop them. Worthy Sacrifice. You automatically cast Blessing of Sacrifice onto enemies within 40 yards when they receive damage while below 35% health, and you are not in a loss of control effect. This effect activates 100% of the Blessing of Sacrifice. It's called an Auto Sack. They tried Auto Bubble, took that away from you. You got Auto Sack. So for those Ret Paladins in the group who are just never pressing it, you're going to press it now. They got you. They knew who they were looking out for you. New talent, Steed of Liberty. Divine Steed also grants Blessing of Freedom for 3 seconds. Crazy. New talent, Eye for an Eye. Melee and ranged attackers receive holy damage each time they strike you during Ardent Defender or Divine Protection and Divine Shield. There's a lot of reflect damage, especially when we get to the PP changes. So curious to see what that does. New talent, Stoicism. The duration of stun effects is reduced by 20% from 10. Oh, it's only 10 in PP. New talent, Wrench Evil. Turn Evil's cast time reduced by 100%, so you can fear pets. Could be really good against Demo Locks and Death Knights in PvP. Possibly some dungeons in PvE, like the Priory. New talent, Stand Against Evil. Turn Evil now affects 5 additional nearby enemies. So you could AoE fear. I guess, okay, now you're really good against Demo and DKs as well. New talent, Righteous Protection. Blessing of Sacrifice now removes and prevents all poison and disease effects. And you're a hard counter to rogues and DKs again. Holy crap. New talent, Light's Countenance. The cooldowns of Repentance and Blinding Light are reduced by 15 seconds. New talent, Sacred Strength. Holy Power spending abilities are 2% more effective. It's a choice node with Divine Purpose, so Divine Purse is a free proc heal and stuff, isn't it? I don't think you're going to drop that. New talent, Divine Spurs. Divine Steed's cooldown is reduced by 20%, but its duration is also reduced by 40, but you can get it with freedom. So get it more frequently and you can freedom seems good. New talent, a just reward after a cleanse. After cleanse successfully removes from an ally, you're just getting the same thing Priest has. You heal when you dispel. Imperial Ward, lay on hands, grants 100% increased armor for 3 seconds and now ignores healing reduction effects. Is that dampening included? I think it must be. So they're trying to address a lot of pain points for Paladin and solo shuffle a bit with these. New talent, Lightbearer. 10% of all healing done to you from other sources heals up to 4 nearby allies, divided evenly among them. Selfless Healer. Flash of Light and Holy Light are 30% more effective on your allies, and 40% of the healing done also heals you. Giving you a bunch of priest stuff. Isn't that the binding heal? It just buffs the heal baseline and you heal yourself. That's really good. New talent, Inspired Guard. Ardent Defender and Divine Protection increase healing taken by 15% for their duration. Holy Reprieve, your forbearance duration is reduced by 10 seconds. New talent, Lights Revocation, removing harmful effects with Divine Shield heals you for 10%. For each effect removed, this heal cannot exceed 30% of your maximum health, and Divine Shield may now be cast while forbearance is active. So all those paladins that bopped themselves and you're like, oh, now, or they bop you and now you can't bubble, you're going to be able to bubble. You can get bopped into bubble. So double Paladin is going to be not so terrible now, I think, with that change. New talent, Blessed Calling. Allies affected by your blessings have 15% increased movement speed. You also sprint them with freedom. New talent, Lead the Charge. Divine Steed reduces the cooldown of 4 nearby allies' major movement abilities by 3 seconds. Your movement speed is increased. So they're really trying to bring back that old school Paladin, like, you're the mobile healer. You make your team mobile, which I like. I feel like that used to be what its identity was, and it just got lost because every melee has so much mobility now, but now you're going to give them so much more. So maybe like Paladin, Warrior, and Enhanced Shaman, stuff like that. It could be good. New talent, Divine Reach. The radius of your aura is increased by 20 yards. Fist of Justice has been redesigned. The cooldown of Hammer of Justice is reduced by 15 seconds. Oh my god, you're getting so much CC reduction. Sanctified Wrath has been redesigned. Now increases the duration of Avenging Wrath and causes its respective specialization effect. Was able to be its own spell. Consecrated Ground is now a class tree talent. Auras of Resolute now additionally teaches the Paladin Crusader aura. Seasoned Warhorse is now passive. Judgment damage increased by 10%. Judgment cooldown reduced by 1 second. Hammer just base cooldown is reduced to 45. And Avenging Wrath now increases critical strength by default. Unbound Freedom now additionally targets a nearby ally by default if you cast it on yourself. Can they do that with the Bloodlust for the PP talent for Shaman? So it just automatically casts on somebody? I kind of like that. Especially for like battlegrounds. It's super annoying in battlegrounds trying to be like, and target somebody, just give it to some random person. Lightforged Blessing now heals 3% of the maximum health for all specs, up from 1% for Holy Prot and 2 for Ret. Of Dusk and Dawn, Blessing of Dawn's effect is increased by 10% for Prot and Ret and 5% for Holy. Divine Toll Icon update. Talents are 1 point, Fist of Justice, Holy Aegis. Following talents are now 2 points, though. Vengeful Wrath and Zealot's Paragon. Following talents have been removed. Seal, the Crusader for Ret and Prot. Vanguard's Momentum, Golden Pass, Strength of Conviction, Fading Light, Seal of Order, Seal of Mercy, Touch of Light, Incandescence, Avenging Wrath, Might. Lightsmith, new talent. Authoritative Rebuke. Successfully interrupting an enemy spellcast reduces your rebuke by 1 second. Effect increased by 100% while wielding a holy armament. Meh. New talent, Tempered in Battle. When you are an ally wielding a holy bulwark or healed above maximum health, transfer 100% of that overhealing to your ally. And when you are an ally wielding a sacred weapon, drop below 40%, redistribute your health immediately and every second for 4. Now that could be good with what we saw where your holy light heals you and heals yourself, so the overhealing gets transferred. Could make Lightsmith a bit better. They removed Fear No Evil and Exoriation. Word of Glory is just getting 5% increase. Shield of Vengeance is also, or Shield of Righteous damage getting increased by 10%. Protection, new talent, Refining Fire. Enemy struck by Avenger Shield burn with a dot now. Word of Glory healing got a 20% buff. Shield of Righteous damage got a 20% buff. Could help you out in like BGs, giving you more like dot damage, but it's gonna all just be pad. Consecrated Ground is just completely removed. I think that's the one that like spam removed slows, right? But you're getting like Steed Freedom and shorter Steed cooldown, so that's probably the trade-off. Shield of Righteous damage increased by 20% for Rat. Word of Glory healing increased by 10%. That's just to compensate from some of the talents they've removed. Power Word Fortitude, mana reductions as well for Priest. Archon, Sustained Potency has been updated. Paladin looks insane, by the way, after that. I didn't mention that, but Paladin looks insane. Sustained Potency has been updated. It now also pauses the duration of Apotheosis, Dark Ascension, or Void Form for up to 20 seconds while out of combat or affected by a loss of control effect. So if you get CC during Apotheosis, you still get it. And if you're going pull to pull in a dungeon, you'll be able to sustain it. So really good awareness towards some pain problems for that ability in both aspects of the game. Fixing issue causing Cyclone, similar effects to prevent Halos from Power Surge from firing. Fixing issue causes Halo not to be castable during Divine Ascension. Void Weaver, Entropic Rift now has a hostile variant for PvP combat, so you can differentiate it. So it's going to look red. or not red like the other abilities. Entropic Rift now displays a low noise version for your allies instead of being completely invisible. Holy that's good too, because sometimes you run somebody out of it. From Darkness Comes Light has been updated to also trigger from Holy Fire damage. Now Rogue, Peekaboo seemed really upset about this, so let's see what's going on. New talent, Thrill Seeking. Shadow Step, Assassination Subtlety, or / Grappling Hook for Outlaw has 1 additional charge. So does that mean... So Outlaw gets 2 hooks instead of getting Shadow Step, and then Assassination and Subtlety both get 1 charge extra of Shadow Step. Thistle Tea now automatically triggers when energy is reduced below 50. So Thistle Tea is no longer an active use. It's a passive proc. I mean, you can activate it by getting your energy below a certain margin. Now, I think they want to make probably Rogue easier to play with less keybinds, so that's what they're doing with this. But if you're a Rogue who really likes timing your Thistle Tea, this probably makes it a bit more difficult to do, I could see. Cut to the Chase now grants Slice and Dice duration instead of requiring an existing Slice and Dice to extend. Okay, so again, they're trying to make things... You can ramp a bit faster, get this going with less keybinds. Shadow Step has been removed, and Shadow Step is automatically granted for Assassination Subtlety. So yeah, it's gone. You'll just get 2 hooks as Outlaw with no step. So you can't step kick. That's a big loss on Outlaw. I don't know really what to think of that, because I also feel like Outlaw shouldn't be considered the ninja rogue spec that's really fast, right? You're like the drunky tank pirate. So I kind of see that, making sense for it. Soothing Darkness now heals 30% of maximum health over 6, up from 15, but the effect is no longer triggered from Shadow Dance. So it's only when you're actually in stealth and trying to reset. That's a lot of combat regen lost, which again, that falls in line with what they've been doing for all of the classes, bringing down the self-healing. So it does seem bad for Rogue right now. But again, I feel like Rogue bringing down the self-healing, as long as they keep the damage in a good spot and the control in a good spot, right? If you had a diagram breaking this out, I think it's going to be okay. But if they don't, then obviously this is going to feel really terrible. New updates for Flagellation, Echoing Reprimand, Fatebound, Inevitability renamed to Inevitable End, so just renames. Inevitable End, Double Jeopardy effects now indicate they can match any flip outcome, including edge, not just one face or the other. Delivered Doom now provides bonus damage when more than one target is nearby, with the bonus reducing by 6% for each nearby target beyond 1. Assassination Twist of the Knife now enables Envenom's beneficial effect to overlap up to 2 times, and Envenom Tooltip updated to contextually reflect the overlapping behavior when Twist of the Knife is known. Crackshot now refreshes the cooldown between the eyes upon gaining stealth. Oh, that's good. So if you mess up your between the eyes, you're just going to get it back right away. Does that include Shadow Dance? I think Shadow Dance is considered stealth. I think that's good. That's, oh my god, that makes Outlaw way less annoying to play when you accidentally press between the eyes before the window, that it gets reset, and then, oh god, what do I do? I have to wait for it? That's really good. Precise Cuts now increases Blade Flurry damage by 4% per missing target. Below its max was 2%. Keep It Rolling cooldown reduced to 6 from 7. Blade Flurry's area effect range increased to match the same distance it was when the previous version of Acrobatic Strikes was talented, so making sure that you've got your AoE clear for dungeons. New talent, Death Perception. Symbols of Death has 1 or 2 additional charges, 2-point talent. So you get 2 charges Symbol of Death, trying to give you more sustained damage in exchange for a little bit of survivability loss. I think that's a decent direction for it. Again, you just have to keep track of it, make sure that it's still, Rogue still fall into place to be competitive. But I think honestly it could be taking Rogue in a much more healthy direction. Shaman, Sky Fury buff, getting mana reduction, same thing. New Ascendance forms for Shamans, just visuals. Shamans can float on water while in an Ascendant form, so you're Jesus. You're literally just Azeroth Jesus. Mana Spring no longer has an aura displaying who's benefiting from it. Updated visuals for Lava Burst. Okay. Interested to see what that looks like. Primordial's wave icon has been updated. The meatballs, dude, they get some love. Farseer, Elemental Blast from Ancestors now prioritize your most recently attacked target. Good. Ancestors now prefer to Chain Lightning your target when you cast Chain Lightning or targeted version of Earthquake. Ancestors are now summoned equipped with a Historic Shaman set. So you're going to have better transmogs. Your Ancestors are going to be... They're going to be dressing up nice and snazzy. Stormbringer, Lightning Conduit. You have a chance to be struck by lightning. That doesn't sound too good. Increasing your movement speed by 50%. That does sound good. The effectiveness is increased to 100% in outdoor areas. You call down a thunderstorm when you reincarnate. So you knock everybody away. I see that being a problem in some groups. If you're dying and you knock trash mobs into some mechanic or something. But the movement speed is really nice. New talent, Electroshock. Tempest increases your movement speed by 20% also. Storm Swells have been redesigned. Tempest grants 10% mastery for 6 seconds. Now choice note against Supercharge. I literally just played Enhanced today, so seeing anything that says movement speed is making me happy. Nature's Protection has been redesigned. Lightning Shield reduces damage take by 3%. Surging Currents have been redesigned. When you cast Tempest, you gain Surging Currents, increasing the effectiveness of Chain Heal or Healing Surge by 20 up to 100%. I don't think Healing Surge needed that. Healing Surge is already healing for 2 million. Conductive Energy spell icon updated to be the same as Lightning Rod. Unlimited Power Tooltip updated to have it be consistent with other talents, a similar functionality. Shocking Grasp has been removed. I think that was the thing buffing Frost Shock or something. Awakened Storms damage reduced by 35%. Fixing issue causing Awakening Storms damage to not be affected by Mastery. So a little bit of a Mastery fix there. I don't know if 50% is enough, but it's definitely in a much better direction, I think. Lightning to make you move faster makes sense, and it's what Enhance really needed. Several talents have moved for Elemental. New talent, they just reworked Ellie. Are they really reworking them again? Herald of Storm, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning Cast, reduce the cooldown of Stormkeeper by 2 seconds. It's choice note against Fear of the Storms. Erupting Lava, increase the duration of Flame Shock by 6 seconds. Lava Burst consumes up to 3 seconds of Flame Shock, instantly dealing the damage, and Lava Burst overloads benefit at 50% effectiveness. New talent, Charged Conduit, increases the duration of Lightning Rod by 4 seconds, increases damage bonus by 25%. Earth Shatter increases the damage of Earthshock and Earthquake by 8%, increases the stat bonus granted by Ellie Blast by 25%. Ascendance has been redesigned, transformed into a Flame Ascendant. You instantly cast Flame Shock and a 100% effective Lava Burst at up to 6 nearby enemies while ascended. You just press the button, you Flame Shock everything, and you just Lava Burst. Oh my god. Elemental Overload damage is increased by 150%. Spells affected by your mastery. Elemental Overload causes 1 additional Elemental Overload. Ascendance no longer increases the critical strike damage of Lava Burst, though, and replaces Lightning with Lava Beam, or removes the cooldown of Lava Burst. So there's a little bit of trade there, but it just gives you instant ramp on an engagement. You just boom! You're just going. And also gives you Flame Shock reapplication if it's getting spam dispelled. Elemental Overload now increases pet damage. Cooldowns of Meteor, Immolate, Call Lightning, and Storm Fury now reset when Fire Elemental, Storm Elemental are refreshed due to casting the ability while on an Elemental is already active. Wind Gust from Storm Elemental grants 4% haste instead of 3 cast time reduction. It stacks up to 4 times down from 10. So it's actually manageable to stack, pull to pull. Wind Gust is now on the personal resource display. Stacks of Wind Gust no longer reset when a lesser Storm Elemental from Echo of Elemental spawn. Deeply Rooted Elements now triggers from Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake instead of Lava Burst. So, that's a big nerf. You don't press Earth Shock that much, but it has a chance now to proc Ascendance instead of Lava Burst. I think that's actually a big nerf, at least towards the proc Ascendance. Frost Shock damage increased by 30%. Ice Fury now can trigger from casting Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning in addition to Lava Burst. So trying to make the Lightning Bolt. Ice Fury has been a big priority in terms of the actual effective damage, so no surprise. Ice Fury now causes your next Frost Shock to be empowered, was 2, and now causes Frost Shock to hit 4 additional targets. Ice Fury now increases Frost Shock damage by 150, though. Ooh, says baseline doing more, but the buff is lower from Ice Fury, and that buff mattered more. Frost Shock, Flame Shock, and Primordial Wave now generates 3 Maelstrom. Liquid Magma Totem now generates 8 Maelstrom. Ice Fury now causes Frost Shock to generate 7 Maelstrom. Flash of Lightning no longer reduces the cooldown of nature spells when Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning are cast. Fire Elemental and Storm Elemental last now 20 seconds down from 30. Lesser Elementals from Echo the Elements now last 10 seconds down from 15. Storm Frenzy now reduces the cast time of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning by 30 down from 40. Storm Frenzy now reduces the global cooldown of its associated spells if the spell has a low enough cast time to be under the normal global cooldown. Fear of the Storms now summons a powerful Lightning Elemental for 10 up from 8. Promoted Wave now grants Lava Surge, though. So you're just going to get a guaranteed instant Lava Burst without needing to NS it. That's really nice quality of change, life and change improvement. But again, losing the proc Ascendance from Lava Burst is a big loss. Lightning Conduit renamed to Lightning Capacitor. Whatever. Fixing an issue causing a tooltip of improved Flame Tongue weapon to be incorrect when talented and enhanced and abused. Bug fixes. Unrelenting Calamity and Skybreaker's Fiery Demise. Isn't that the cooldown reduction on your Elemental? Maybe they thought it was already too much cooldown reduction, so just getting rid of it. For Farseer, Routine Communication now also triggers from Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Ice Fury, and Frost Shock. Routine Communication now has a 5% chance to call an Ancestor down from 8. I really want them to make it so the NS on Farseer, when you don't talent into the NS baseline, it constantly disappears from your action bar, and you have to drag it on every time you phase into a dungeon or BG, whatever it is. That bug fix needs to get fixed. It is so annoying constantly having to take NS out of the talent spellbook and put it on the bar when you don't have NS talented baseline. I'm really hoping they can fix that bug. I don't see that being addressed here, though. For Enhance, whoa, what is this, bro? Enhance is getting in an essay. New talent, Flowing Spirits. Your damaging abilities have a chance to summon a Feral Spirit for 8 seconds, replaces Feral Spirit, so you don't have to press it anymore. Functions as elemental spirits and alpha wolf. Choice node with witch doctor's ancestry. New talent lightning spark. Chain lightning marks enemies with lightning spark. It has a chance to make your next flame shock become tremor shock. Tremor shock instantly shocks up to 6 lightning sparks targets with concussive force, causing nature damage and applying flame shock. AoE flame shock application, a little bit of AoE. Molten thunder. The cooldown of sundering is reduced by 10, but it's no longer going to knock or incap. Storm surge has a small chance to also reset the cooldown of sundering. I don't really feel like you needed more proc damage abilities. I played Enhance and my entire action bar lights up so much before I can even get rid of all the spells that light up and proc. I really don't think that mechanic was necessary. Ice Strike has been redesigned. Whenever you spend Maelstrom weapon, your Frost Strike has a chance to become Ice Strike. I like that. They need to take down some of the ability counts. That's good. Doom Winds has been updated. Unleash a devastating storm around yourself, dealing storm strike damage every 1 second to nearby enemies, increasing your chance to activate wind for your weapon by 200% and damage of wind for your weapon by 10%. So trying to give Doom Winds some AoE so it's more viable in Mythic Plus. So I'm not surprised to see that. You're basically Death Knight AoE kind of win thing. Arc Discharge has been updated. Tempest makes your next Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt instant. I love that it's also Lightning Bolt. Deal 40% increased damage and cast an additional time. Oh my god, that's going to feel so good. Thorm's Invocation has been updated. Now causes deeply rooted elements to last 2 seconds longer. It reduces the cooldown of Ascendance by 60 seconds. Instead of increasing the damage of Chain Lightning, Lightning Bolt remaining effect unchanged. The second part of Enhanced with Shaman Master that resets Storm Strike cooldown has been renamed from Stormbringer to Storm Surge. Supercharges Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning now have a 35% chance to refund 2 Maelstrom weapons per stack, down from 3. Chain Lightning now reduces the cooldown of Crash Lightning by 0.5 for each target hit, down from 1. Crash Lightning's range changed to 8, down from 12. Molten Assaults changed from 10 from 12. Primal Maelstrom now causes Primordial Wave to generate 3 out of 5 stacks. And Maelstrom weapon was 5 out of 10. Witch Doctor's Ancestry now reduces the cooldown of Feral Spirit by 1 second. We've been going to these changes a long time. By 1 second whenever a stack Maelstrom weapon is generated was 2. Flame Tongue weapon damage increased by 20%. Fire Nova now unavailable when there was no Flame Strike targets within 40 yards, so you can accidentally put it on cooldown. Mastery reset on Storm Strike no longer has a UI overlay and now displays in combat text. Overflame Maelstrom now has a UI overlay when Maelstrom weapons reach 10. Good. Hot Hand now has a UI overlay display. Hot Hands now has a visual on the character when the effect is active. Hot Hands now has a visual on the character on activation. Nice. Catalyst no longer highlights Lava Lash when it reaches 8 stacks. And Ashen Catalyst are now displayed on Lava Lash ability. Wind Fury weapon attacks now have an animation and sound effect of impact visual effect. Doom Winds now has an animation and sound of an impact visual effect. Stormbringer only highlights Storm Strike, lots of visual updates. Storm Strike and replacement, Wind Strike animation. Elemental Weapons is now 1 point talent. For Totemic, reactivity has been redesigned. While Hot Hand is active, Lava Lash shatters the earth, causing a Sundering at 30% effectiveness. Sundering turns effect to not in cap. Reactivating previous effects, Searing Volley. Searing Volley up to 5 nearby enemies has been merged into Lively Totems. Okay, so it's not a talent on its own. Whirling Elements. Whirling Fire has been redesigned. Your next Lava Lash or Fire Nova grants you Hot Hands for 8 seconds. This will add its time to an active Hot Hands if active. Good. Again, like I swear my action bar is all lit up. I'm like, I got so many procs, I can't press any of them. And I'm slow as hell, so I can't even get to anything anyways to spend them. So this is nice. Whirling Elements. Whirling Earth has been redesigned. Direct damage of your next Flame Shock is increased by 300%. And it's applied to 5 nearby targets. Whirling Elements. Whirling Air has been redesigned. Your next Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Elemental Blast unleash 3 Surging Bolts at your totem. Imbuement Mastery has been updated, increasing the chance for Wind Fury weapon to trigger by 10%, increasing its damage by 15. When Flame Tongue weapon triggers from Wind Fury weapon attacks, it has a chance to gather a whirl of flame around your target, dealing its damage to all nearby enemies for 3 additional seconds. And Totemic Rebound, triggering spell effects updated from Storm Strike to Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Elemental Blast. Oh my god, dude, this is the biggest patch update ever. This is just the first patch of the expansion, bro. Like, where are we going with this? Resto Shaman also got like a big town update earlier. What's going on now? Coalescing Water Chain Heal increases the initial healing of your next Riptide by 75%. Stag it to 2 times, and Chain Heal's mana cost is reduced by 15%. Reactive Warding now also allows Earth Shield and Water Shield to consume charges of the shields 1 second faster. High Tide's progress is now tracked through an aura called Swelling Tide. When Swelling Tide stack count reaches 100, High Tide will trigger. High Tide's progress now resets at the start of a raid encounter or Mythic Plus. Totemic Chain Heals from Lively Totems are now cast by the Shaman. This is intended to clarify that Chain Heals cast this way will interact with Shaman talents and effects. Updated the wording on some abilities, fixed some issues, causing nature substance to consume when Surging Totem is used, fixing an issue causing Chain Heal from Totemic Rebound to sometimes target pets instead of players, fixing an issue causing reactive warding. Can they make Convoke the Spirits not target pets? I'm just like, I want Convoke the Spirits to only hit players. It can't cast Full Moon. It's not even that threatening anyways. I hate that it hits pets. It's just totally useless. A lot of these other spells are getting that type of update. I really like Convoke to also get that update. Soul Rot's getting a new icon. Warlock, you guys are already awesome and incredible, so you're not getting a huge amount of stuff here, but Diabolic Ritual is updated. Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, Shadowburn, grant Diabolic Ritual for 20 seconds. If Diabolic Ritual is already active, its duration is reduced by 1 second. Instead, when Diabolic Ritual expires, you gain Demonic Art, causing your next Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, Shadowburn to summon an Overlord, Mother of Chaos, or Pit Lord that unleashes a devastating attack against your enemies. Touch of Rancor has been updated. Demonic Art increases damage to next Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, Shadowburn by 100%, reduces the cast time by 50. Chaos Bolt reduces the duration of Diabolic Ritual by 1 additional second. We're adjusting Diabolic Ritual to avoid a situation where constantly casting Rain of Fire due to its instant cast time provides the best output for a Diabolist. To avoid adding Diabolic Ritual's already lengthy tooltip, we're adding functionality to Touch of Rancor to add further value to casting Chaos Bolt so that its cast time doesn't hinder its usefulness to Diabolist Warlocks. A big buff for PvP. I don't know if he'll use it in PvE because it's not AoE, but Champion Spear, new icon. Warrior's not getting a lot. Warbreaker radius increased to 10 from 8 for Fury. Crushing Force now increases Bloodthirst critical strike damage by 5 to 10, up from 2 to 4. And for PvP, Reactive Resin obviously pruned away. For Mistweaver, Zen Spheres redesigned. Zen Spheres now has a 6-second cooldown, was none. A global cooldown of 1 second, down from 1.5. Each sphere has a new initial heal or damage event. And Sphere of Despair now reduces all damage done by 3%, was only to the Monk by 10. Dome of Mist, no longer PvP talent. Obviously, they moved that into the baseline tree. This is what I was talking about, the Thorns effect. So, Spellbreaker, Eye for an Eye will now also trigger 100% from magic damage. So, you redirect magic damage back to the enemy attacker, and it's buffed by 150%. So, attacking a Ret is like, you're going to take, I think, a lot of damage. Wrench Evil removed. I think it's because they, the turn evil stuff was a baseline now. Divine Please kind of coming back for Paladin. After casting Aura Mastery, you'll restore mana over 20 seconds, but your healing will go down by 30%. For Prot PP talent, Bear the Burden. Word of Glory's mana cost is reduced by 100%, and now reduces the cooldown of Blessing of Freedom by 2 seconds when cast, but its healing is reduced by 50% when cast on allies. So trying to maybe make your like self-sustain better, like Death Knights don't use mana, and maybe this will make you a bit more self-reliable as opposed to a team healer is like an FC or something like that. Ret Paladin, Ultimate Retribution, mark an enemy for retribution after they kill an ally with your active aura. If the marked enemy is slain within 12 seconds, cast Redemption on a fallen ally. So a little bit of like in-game battle res. Mind Games gets a new icon. Elemental Overload's damage bonus from Ascendance is reduced by 50% in PvP combat. Damage of Lava Burst fired when entering Ascendance is also reduced by 50% in PvP combat. I don't even think Ellie is that crazy right now, so I don't know if like these changes make it that crazy and it's like a preemptive measure, but it's a bit surprising. The Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning damage bonus from Arc Discharge is reduced by 50% also, and Volcanic Surge has been removed. So the hard cast spam Lava Burst build, that's gone. For enhancement, Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning damage bonus from Arc Discharge is also reduced by 50% in PvP combat. So this is a huge update. They're coming out of the gate swinging. Now remember, this patch is still like maybe a month, maybe more than a month away at this point, but it seems like they're very aware of all the pain points: PvE, dungeons, mob to mob, giving classes more AoE, mobility. It seems like PvP and PvE was really well addressed here. Rogue, again, I could see why initially you would be really upset by these changes. Hopefully they just compensate by giving you more lethality, making you more threatening, because again, I don't think Rogue should be high mobility, high damage, high tankiness all at the same time. So getting Rogue into a more healthy spot, I think, would be good. And making it more accessible, I can see what they're trying to do. I just don't know if this is the right way of going about it with Thistle Tea. But I think overall, this update is a massive W. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to stay up to date, smash that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.